Hello, everyone, and welcome to the FTS podcast, Friends Talking Shop. I'm your host, Dave, and I'm dialing in from snowy Wisconsin. It actually blizzard yesterday on April 2nd.
Oh my God.
Legitimate blizzard where I was driving. I had kind of a whiteout, and that's my wife calling on the phone.
It's a perfect timing.
She has impeccable timing. Joining me today is from Philadelphia, I assume, is Josh. Josh, how are you doing?
You assume right. I've been better. I have some non-COVID illness. So I apologize to all our tens of fans.
All right, we can get into all of that. And
Yes.
Joining us also, as usual, is Omar. Omar, how are you doing?
I'm well. I prefer, instead of hearing Josh talk about how he has COVID and his influenza-like symptoms, I'd rather just think that whenever he coughs, he's just making a point of signaling to me how brilliant something I said just was.
That is all right.
I will do everything in my power not to cough during this hour.
That's additional pressure not to cough. Yeah.
Oh, there he goes. Yeah. I can't help it.
Well, we have lots of things to discuss. I think we're going to go in a different order this week. But first, I just want to ask you guys about the slap. I need to get your just brief impression. Are you just real quickly your first impressions or what your impressions are of it right now? Any thoughts?
The first impression was, look, I shouldn't have said that to my wife. She had a perfectly legitimate point, and I don't condone that she hit me, but I understand it. Oh, yeah. Were we not talking about that slap?
Not that slap. Yeah, that's the lesser known Kaplan slap. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I got it now.
Yeah. Did I need to clarify the Will Smith, Chris Rock? Yeah.
I thought it was fake at first because the slap itself does not look real.
Yeah.
That looks very staged and fake. But when he started screaming at him, then you knew it was real. And now everyone's talking. It's completely real. And he left the academy, whatever the hell that means. I don't know what that means. Doesn't mean he has to stop acting, right? He's going to still act.
I think it means he doesn't have a vote.
Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah. What a
punishment. Yeah. A vote. Who cares? First of all, these award shows are complete bullshit anyway. It's just, who gives themselves all a pat on the back? Does anyone even watch them anymore? And who cares if best picture? Has that ever made you go out and watch a movie because it won best picture? I don't think I've seen the actual winner of the best picture in forever. And if I did, it's because I wanted to see it before the Oscars even aired.
I will watch a movie if it won Best Picture.
Really?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm too curious to know.
Please stick to the topic at hand.
The slap?
Yeah.
The slap.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. I think Chris Rock handled himself incredibly well. I think Will Smith is an asshole. That didn't do him any favors. That's what my wife said. She goes, it looks staged. It was staged. I'm like, yeah, it looks staged, but why would Will Smith agree to do something like that? It just would be awful for him.
Right.
It is awful for him.
What do you think, Omar? Are you one way or the other? Have any thoughts?
As usual, you guys are unable to see through the actual.
Don't cough.
Damn you.
The optics. What is really, really, I think, something that speaks volumes wasn't the slap for Around the World. That's, by the way, that I came up with that. It was it's more so the Academy and how everyone gave him a standing ovation for 30 minutes.
Like crap.
I mean, it is exactly why Trump won, 4 years ago. It's this liberal elite of this signaling, but for themselves it doesn't apply. But he assaulted somebody and got a standing ovation.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And won an award. I mean, it's just insane to me. And
apparently they said he had to leave, and then he refused to do so, and then he went, "Oh, okay."
Yep.
I mean, what other scenario does the authority of the venue that you're in ask you to leave, and you get to talk them out of it?
If you're Roman Polanski or Harvey Weinstein or anybody else high-powered in Hollywood, it doesn't really matter what you do. Which, by the way, it applies to other industries too. There's plenty of never good doers, never say wellers.
Ne'er-do-wells.
Ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah.
Didn't Roman Polanski win an award afterwards? And and he wasn't there for it. And people are still doing movies with Mel Gibson. I mean, what the hell's going on here? Yeah, Woody Allen, exactly. It's ridiculous.
But if you're in the crowd and he wins the award, and at that point you're probably not sure. Was that real? Was that fake? I'm not sure. So he wins the award. Some people are standing. I would think, oh, I'll just stand. I'll figure it out later.
Well, first of all, it was everyone got up. And secondly, the anger in his voice when he was saying the whole like not wife thing, don't talk to my wife or whatever, that was something that you can't. I mean, I've seen Will Smith act. He's not that good of an actor.
Now, first of all, don't take away from Will Smith. He's a very good actor. He is.
Yeah, he is. But Chris Rock isn't. Actor. Chris Rock isn't. And if he was faking, he should win an Oscar because he never budged. I mean, he never put his hand to his face. He kept his composure. I mean, Chris Rock actually, even though I think he's at fault somewhat as well, but just the bigger picture is you can't slap somebody.
I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think Chris Rock's at fault at all.
I don't think you make a joke about some things.
Hold on a second. He is a stand-up comedian. What he even said, by the way, wasn't even that bad.
No, but
it was not even that bad. And that's what you have to expect from guys like Chris Rock. First of all, and Will Smith's laughing. It's only when he looked over and saw Jada give him the stink eye that he then decided, I think I better say something or do something. And that's when he marched on stage. Chris Rock's a comic. You have to expect that out of comics. If you've never seen even the Oscars, they make fun of everybody in the whole crowd. And by the way, alopecia, it's not. Don't get me wrong. It's not. No one wants it. It's a bad illness. It's not a terminal thing. It's not.
30% of women have it, and 60% of men have it.
And she actually looks good. I mean, it's not like and she wears it proudly. She could easily put on a wig or something, but she embraces it. It seems like
half of Hollywood.
It's crazy. I don't think Chris Rock's in the wrong at all.
I think what's become clear to me on this call already is David is part of the Hollywood elite.
It seems very evident. Very evident.
Right.
In St. Louis.
Stop calling me out all the time. I am who I am. But I will say that on the other side, the bigger issue is like the total breakdown in normal society rules. Like, I feel like this is symptomatic. Like, if you lose an election, you're like, we didn't lose an election. Or can you wear a mask? We have a rule of mask. I'm not wearing a mask. Like, now comics like assault my wife. Like, I'm going to slap you. Like, it feels like people are very angry, and people need our podcast, I think, more than ever.
I think that's the lesson learned. That is the lesson learned, is that the more downloads this gets, the more we will strive towards peace and the planet. And it's very obvious the reason why we launched a podcast. If everyone knows, it pretty much lined up with Ukraine, and we decided that the world needs us now.
If ever before.
Yes.
You need FTS. Yeah.
So it seems very obvious.
All right. So should we jump into our topics?
Let's do it.
I also think that if the three of us started bickering every episode, like really going at each other, we would have 10x the number of downloads. People like to see,
Yeah, but we're not doing it for that reason. This is as
I would love to slap. Honestly, I thought about slapping Josh a few times over the last few weeks.
Can you virtually slap me on Skype?
Especially when he brings up his topics with the elevator and number 13. I mean, I wish I could have slapped.
First of all, hold on a second. We just came up with something great for Zoom that Zoom needs to add: the virtual slap.
Yeah, right.
Where you can actually touch someone's box on the screen and virtually slap them during a Zoom call. Wouldn't that be a great addition?
Here's the genius of our podcast, though. We're FTS. We can pivot to friends taking slaps. Like, we can take that in any direction we want and not change any of our graphics. Oh, actually, maybe our graphic has friends talking shop, but we'll figure that out. Anyway, well, yeah, I agree. I think that would be a good addition to Zoom.
There we go. We got somewhere we didn't think we'd get.
Yeah.
Zoom add-on.
Well, speaking of nonsense, I figured, Josh, why don't you go first? I know you've got a burning issue you got to go up your chest.
Thank you.
So perhaps the origin of my illness is this weekend that I have every year. So I have an annual retreat every year with my grade school buddies, actually. So these are guys I've known for a very long time. We go away every year.
To a guy's house named Bernie. No?
Are you talking weekend at Bernie's? Was that your try to crowbar in weekend at Bernie's? Listen, if you're trying to distract from your other horrible 80s movies reference, by adding this one to the list,
because Weekend at Bernie's we know is like the biggest healthcare based movie.
Yes.
Or what I can't think of whatever the basketball equivalent to Soul Man is.
To Soul Man, that's.
Keep mentioning that.
I haven't seen Weekend at Bernie's soon enough that I can actually make a proper ill proper reference.
Yeah, I jumped too soon. Go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, so we go away for this. There's 9 of us, and we go away every single year, and we rent a big house, usually somewhere in the mountains, or we do it in Atlantic City or somewhere like that. And it's just a fun time to be with guys that we haven't seen each other in a long time, some of us, and we reminisce and we just basically drink all weekend and play poker and barbecue, and that's the weekend. So
and now you're sick.
And now I'm sick, which seems to be the result of this. But anyway, and I'm always the one that gets the house for the retreat.
Why is that?
It just kind of fell on my shoulders, and it's never really shifted to anyone else. So
I'm just so not used to you taking responsibility for anything. So I'm already very curious about this whole weekend.
You know what? It's what a backhanded insult that was. I take responsibility for a lot of things.
A backhand slap on Zoom. A backhand
slap and a forehand slap. Oh, that would be great. How do you? Can someone get me the number for the head of Zoom?
Yeah.
Mr. Zoom or Mrs. Zoom. Could be Mrs. Zoom.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry.
Could be Mrs. Zoom or Miss Zoom. Anyway, so every year we try to change the house up just to mix it up, just to be in something new and fresh. And so always had a great house with great amenities. And there's 9 of us, so it has to be relatively big. And we all have to have our own bed, which wasn't the case, but we're getting too old that we can't really share beds when you're in your 40s.
Can't head to toe it.
It's a little weird.
Yeah.
So anyway, I found this one house, booked it. We went up there, and as soon as we got in there, we're like, oh my God, this is not as advertised. I mean, this house was, the pictures were like you ever see you look at McDonald's, the pictures on the ads, and you're like, hey, that actually kind of looks good. And then it looks nothing like a McDonald's meal. You're
talking about the burgers and
Yeah, and you're like, this is just it's not even comparable. That's what this was. That was the kind of gap between what McDonald's looks like on TV and what it looks like in real life. Was this house? There were problems. So we got in there. The first thing we noticed, it's dirty. Like the beds are all made, the sheets are clean, but it's like there's cobwebs in corners, and it just was like a dirtiness to it. So that was the first thing. Then we opened the dishwasher, and it's packed full of dishes. We're like, well, what the hell is this? They're clearly not clean. So we run it. Dishwasher doesn't even work. And we
have you reached out to the Airbnb host at this point?
Okay, first of all, I'm not going to say what site I booked it through for reasons you'll understand in a second. But I'm starting to be like, yeah, I'm going to have to talk to this guy because this is ridiculous. The couches, there are these big couches, and we like the main room. There's 9 of us, so we like a big main room. We like to gather and watch the game, and this is perfect because we're going to watch the tournament, the NCAA tournament. The couches, I'm not kidding you. These couches must have been around for decades because when you sat on them, there was no support. Your legs hit the frame. You were like sitting you were on a technical cushion, but you were basically sitting on the frame of the couch. It sunk all the way. It was absolutely ridiculous. That we always check because we barbecue almost all our meals. The propane is empty. So I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So I call the guy. I'm like, hey, dude, listen. And by the way, he answers the phone. I'm like, this is not as advertised. I mean, this is ridiculous. There's no propane. The dishwasher's not working. He's like, all right. And he's the house manager, just so you know. So he manages the property. Omar, are you hearing any of it? He just walked away. For those of you who don't, he's just walking away doing these ridiculous, I don't even know what the hell you're doing. These little chores. What is that?
I can hear the whole thing. Everything you said, I'm listening.
What did you just get? A mat? You're gonna sit on a mat? What is that?
No, it's a mat that has corrugations in it. So when you stand on it, it like has so it massages your feet rather than sitting down the whole day.
Oh my god.
David works on a stand-up desk too. I've seen it.
Yeah, but he didn't have to leave the podcast to go get it.
But I'm listening to the whole every word you said. I've listened to every word.
A corrugations mat, whatever the hell that is. Never even heard of that. Anyway, so I call the guy. I'm like, dude, this place sucks, and it's nothing like advertised. Oh, when we got in there, the flat screen that was on the wall above the fireplace, I've never seen this before, was tilted towards the ceiling. Like if you sat in the couch, you can't even see the TV.
It couldn't tilt back?
No, so we went up there. It wouldn't tilt back. We had to go up there and change the whole goddamn mount and pull it off the mount and reposition the TV so at least when you sat there, you could see it.
Like at what angle? Like a 45 or greater?
I'm talking an angle that it would be you could barely make out what the hell was going on the screen.
You could.
Yeah, I mean it was not like it wasn't pointed where you couldn't even see the screen. It wasn't that bad. But no one mounts a TV and points it towards the ceiling.
David, there could be a reason why they did have and this could be the case. Were the ceilings mirrored?
No, think of a big mountain cabin, and it's like a giant like 2-story rec room or whatever the hell you want to call it. It was ridiculous.
Are the owners 10 feet tall? Maybe?
That I can't confirm or deny. I did not see the owners.
Okay.
No. So if they were 10 feet tall, then I take back all the bad things I'm going to say.
Okay. Think of all the options here.
Yeah. So the guy's like, listen, I'll send because he was far away, but he's like, I'll send the person who's on property.
Was he apologetic?
Yes. Very nice, very kind. I am so sorry. Let me see what I can do. I'm going to get you more propane. We'll get that over to you tonight. Blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, fine. My buddy goes and takes the first shower. He's like, the water smells like a toilet. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I have some follow-up questions about this.
Yeah,
so you say that you've been planning these trips for a number of years. So you've been.
We've been doing this forever. We've been doing this since high school.
Okay, fair enough. So like, do you have a history of picking nice places?
Yes.
Or is it always borderline?
No. No.
Okay.
No. We have never had the worst house we had. I once did a little bit of a reach, and I found a house with an indoor swimming pool in it, and I'm like, this is different. This is different. I'm like, this is different.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's just try something different. And so the house itself was pretty cool, except the pool. I mean, it was the weirdest indoor swimming pool you've ever seen. It was not even in like a separate enclosed area. It was like on the ground floor. It was beautiful and had a bar, a swim-up bar, and a TV. But the whole house was like the chlorine went through the whole house.
Oh no!
It was awful, and it was just like it was ridiculous. Like I don't understand how anyone lives in this house because you're just smelling chlorine. It's like you're in a hotel. You ever been to a hotel pool?
Yeah.
And like the chlorine like burns your eyes like as you're even walking towards the pool. That's what it was like in this house. So that was
David, how appealing is that to you, being in a house with an indoor pool with 8 men only? That's something that you want to do on a week? I'm not sure if that's something that's interesting to you.
Listen.
I am. I'm curious to hear where this is going.
Yeah.
Listen. So anyway, the other thing we always have, or not always have, but we had this year, is the house had a nice fire pit outside. And so we make bonfires, and it's just fun to be outside around the fire. But anyway, so I called back the guy. I'm like, look, she brought the propane, thank you, but the dishwasher is still not working, and now the shower smells. I'm like, is there something we can do here, because this is really, really off base from the way it's advertised. He's like, okay, let me talk to your owner. I'll get back to you. He gets back to me. He goes, I have 3 options for you. Okay. He said, first, and by the way, we get there on a Thursday morning and we're leaving Sunday morning. Okay. And everyone's coming from all over. So it's not like everyone's coming from the same area.
What state are you in? Can you say?
Yeah, we're in Pennsylvania.
It is Pennsylvania.
Yeah. We're in the mountains in Pennsylvania. What? What did
I
you say?
Dave's like, can you say what state you're in? I'm like, okay. They might give it away.
Maybe he didn't think I could pronounce Pennsylvania. Maybe it was a challenge.
No. I was wondering if you wanted to keep the whole thing private, but you were in like the Poconos or something, which is
yes.
Was it the Poconos?
Yeah, we were in the Poconos. Yes.
That is a romantic. Was the beds
very romantic? See, when
when
non-Pennsylvania or non-Philadelphia people hear of the Poconos, they immediately think of that giant wine glass that's like a spa.
Right.
That's in every room. That's not really the Poconos.
No? Okay.
No, that's like the quintessential stereotypical Pocono room of like, I don't know anyone who goes on their honeymoon to the Poconos.
It's not part of that song.
It's not that nice.
Beach Boy song.
No, that's not Poconos. That they're not singing about the mountains.
That's the islands. That's
Bermuda, Bahama, that one.
Kokomo.
Kokomo.
Yeah, Kokomo. Sorry.
Which is not the best Beach Boys song, by the way.
Okay, first of all, I don't even want to get into the Beach Boys. They're entirely overrated. I don't like them.
We didn't
I
start
don't
the
like
fire
the Beach Boys.
Of Beach Boys songs.
I don't understand how the Beach Boys were even famous. I don't even get it. But anyway, so you think the Beach Boys? Their name is the Beach Boys. They're not singing about a mountain town.
No.
Some people will say like the greatest bands of all time, top 3, and they'll put like people in the industry will put the Beach Boys on that list.
That's utterly stupid.
Were revolutionary for some of the things that they did.
Yeah.
Revolutionary? Did you say revolutionary?
Like Good Vibrations is still one of the most textured, incredible. It's like 5 different songs. It's from when they produced and made that song, it had never been done before.
Yeah, I guess there's a genius there that I can't appreciate that other people who understand music do.
It's hokey and it's ridiculous and it's campy. I don't like it at all. It's like Jimmy Buffett. I know people love Jimmy Buffett. I don't get it. I'm sorry. I don't get Jimmy Buffett. He's in the same camp as the Beach Boys and the Monkees.
Yeah, I think it's memories. I think it's memories of going to see a tour, concert tour, or listening to Beach Boys in your car in the 60s.
I guess.
But all right, so back to your romantic.
So this guy gives me 3 options. He says, here's your 3 options. First, I talked to the owner. He's willing to extend you guys another night for free. I'm like, okay, first off,
I'll hit you again.
This place sucks, number 1. Number 2, we all have to get back. We're all married with kids with jobs. You know, we're not. This is not some Shangri-La where we're just going to stay here indefinitely. That's not how life works. We can't stay here one day.
You were backpacking across America.
Yes, that's right. It's yeah.
But that's like saying like there's a fly in my soup and saying,
I'll get you more soup.
I'll give you another more soup and maybe another fly.
Did you give him this amount of detail on why option 1 didn't work, or did you just skip over it?
No, I told him, I'm like, I was being, because I wanted a resolution. He was being very nice. So I told him, that's not going to work. We all have jobs and families we have to get back to. So that's it. So that's what he said. That's the first thing. Then he said, well, the owner owns 33 homes up there. And there's another home actually on the same exact street that's being unused, and you guys can move in there if you want. I said, okay. I'm like, well, can you give me the code to get in there so we can check it out? He's like, well, I can't do that, but I'll send you the link. I'm like, well, you do realize I looked at the link for this one.
I don't trust you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to get past that. So he's like, well, it's only a few houses up. I'm like, I'll tell you what, we'll go check it out, and I'll just look at it and tell you and see if we can look through the window or something like that. He goes, okay. So we go up there, me and 2 of my buddies. We go up there. We're like, this house is even smaller than the one we're in. We're already tight in the one we're in. And I'm like, and he goes, you'll like it. There's a basketball court. Well, this is far from a basketball court. It looked like, it looked like an unkept playground that people haven't played on since the 60s. The net is off. The hard
8-foot rims. Hank Adams, 8-foot rims.
And it was like there was no room to even you could barely play 1-on-1 in this space that he called a basketball court. I mean, it was so stupid. So we went there. We're like, no, this house is not going to work. Plus the fact we unloaded $500 worth of groceries. We all unpacked all our bags. We all had all our shit everywhere. What are we going to gather all that up and move? I'm like, no. So and he goes, the other thing so I called him back. I'm like, this doesn't work. He goes, well, I can offer you some sort of refund. I'm like, okay, fine. Let's do that. So he goes, let me get back to you. Great. So I tell the guys, and everyone's kind of like, oh, this place sucks, Josh. I felt awful. I'm like,
while you were going through this dance with this guy.
Yeah.
Did any other disappointments or realities of the house materialize while this is going on? Like somebody fell down, like the stairs broke, or maybe a doorknob came off.
There was one thing. So my one buddy, his bed. He went on his bed. His bed was like you could see on the verge of just collapsing. Like you went on it and you watched the frame just bend to the ground. And I'm like, oh my God, this thing is going to give. And it's of course my one buddy who's probably bigger than the rest of us. And he's like, that's your bed, bud. Good luck with that. So there were little things like that all over the place that were just like, come on. I mean, it was ridiculous. And so, you know, and the other problem is then we had to go back out because then we had to get all sorts of paper products because we couldn't use all their silverware and everything because we couldn't have any, we had no means by which to wash it unless we were going to do it all by hand, and no one wanted to do that. No one wants to spend the weekend doing dishes.
Oh my God.
You
I would have been losing it.
You couldn't do dishes?
We don't want, who wants to do dishes? We're the whole day. This is what we do. We get up, we eat breakfast, whatever the hell we got, cereal and bagels and crap like that. We then start, you know, drinking and playing cards, playing poker, and then we go out and get a fire going, and then
getting in pools together.
No, we're not getting in pools together. There was a hot tub, by the way, and we're like, we're not touching this hot tub.
No, yeah.
There's no, we're not even going to go near this friggin' hot tub.
Although you are sick, so I don't.
Yeah, that's true. But you know, the house had a pool table, and we had shuffleboard, and we had a big arcade machine and a big poker table. So we always go with a house with a game room because that's where we spend a lot of our time. We're watching the games. So from that perspective, you know, we're doing crap and hanging out with each other all day long, and we're just, you know, we're feeling good. And so you don't want to stop and do, you know, I had a pork shoulder in the barbecue going for 18 hours. I mean, it's all good stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's
a very precious time for you and your friends. You do it once a year.
Once a year. And by the way, and that sounded very sincere, by the way, Omar. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So we're like, but this is not cheap either. This is very expensive. This house. It's not cheap by any means. Even split 9 ways, it's not at all cheap.
Really? Okay.
And so we're expecting. I told him what happened. Everyone's like, oh, he should give us back at least a night. Like, yeah, he should give us back at least a night. I mean, that's, you know, ridiculous. And so a night is in excess of, you know, it's 4 figures is one night, right? So we're like, okay. So guy calls back. It's like, okay, I talked to the owner. We're going to give you back $300 for the cleaning fee. I'm like, what? He says, yeah, that's what the owner said. I said, I'm sorry, but that falls well short of what we expected. And he goes, well, you know, that's what I can talk to him again. I'm like, okay, please talk to him again because that's ridiculous. Hang up the phone. I don't hear from him now. Now I don't hear from him at all. We're a couple days in. I text him. I'm like, hey, haven't heard back from you. The refund you offered us is ridiculous. It's unacceptable. We should be getting back. If you were to extend us a free night, you should at least give us a night back. This is not as advertised. It's not great. And I don't.
Did you text him this? Or
yeah, I texted him because this time I wanted it in writing.
On record, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted it in record. So I don't hear back from him. Okay. So now, the weekend's over, and I'm talking with my buddies. It's like the last moments before we all scatter. I'm like, he's not giving us anything else. It's not happening.
It's
I'm
over.
like, so here's the deal. I think the new tactic should be, I'm going to tell him honestly, hey, I'm going to review this place.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Did you take pictures?
Yes, I took pictures.
Okay.
I said, I'm going to review this place, and I'm going to be honest. And because my one friend is a real, you know, he's a great guy, and he's always thinking about others. And he goes, the reason we should review is people have to know, so it's not like us. Because all my buddies ask me, like, did you look at the reviews for this place? I mean, how? And I'm like, yeah, I always look at the reviews. And of course, I went back and looked at the reviews afterwards when I got home, and they're all great. Great place.
How many?
84.
Oh, really? Okay. Written?
Yes, not 5, not
Okay.
5.
Yeah,
84. They all span some time, and so there was some legitimacy to it. And it's like, you know, I'm like, oh my God, this. I wasn't. It's not like my memory was faulty. These were all great reviews. And so I'm like, you know, I'm going to be courteous. So I text the guy. I'm like, hey, listen, I want to give you a heads up because I don't want to do it blind, but I'm going to give the place an honest review. And I just wanted to let you know ahead of time that that's coming. So he writes back and threatens me.
Oh, no.
Like he's a mob
Which one?
boss.
Now, the manager or the owner?
The manager.
Manager.
Like he's a mob boss. Basically telling me that if I do that, he's going to blackball me from this site, and he's going to take down my review, and it won't count anyway. Go ahead and try it. I'm like, oh my God. So now I'm thinking.
Do you have it in front of you? Can you read exactly what he said?
I don't have it in front of me.
That's a good question, David.
But it was basically that was what he said.
Yeah. Okay.
It was
Josh. What do you think? I mean, Dave, what do you think Josh does? Do you think Josh is someone who lets it go? Or do you think Josh is like no one is going to try and bully Josh Kaplan around?
So I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
So this is where we comes in. This is where I need you guys.
Okay.
This is where I need you guys. So half my friends, or I won't say half, some of my friends say, screw that guy. You need to write the review and then call the site and let them know this dude threatened you and get him out of there.
On text.
What's that?
On text. The threat is on text.
Yeah, the threat's on text. I have it. Okay. The second part of my contingent says, no, let this go. Who gives a shit? We're never going to rent from this dude ever again. And just let's just move on. You don't need to start anything here. So I now turn it to you two. What would you do if you were me?
David, I'll let you go first. I have an easy answer, but
okay.
I kind of do too. I think this is what I would do legitimately. I think I would not review it, but I would call the site and I would share with them the text. And so you exact revenge without, and I would tell them, look, I don't want to get involved. This sounds threatening. I don't know if they can backtrack my information, so I want to be out of it. But I expect you to do something about this. And so.
But does that help others? Does that help the next renter, which is my one friend said?
Yeah.
That doesn't help the next renter?
I think because they might take them off the site.
Yeah, which is a huge. I mean, I'm assuming this site's not like Craigslist.
No, this is one of the big sites where you.
I don't know why would you say the name of the site? Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, because if I do anything and this guy has some power I don't know about.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, their entire business is based on the integrity of the host and the guest.
That's right.
And if someone's threatening, this guy's out. I mean, the fact you have it on text.
Yep.
My answer was going to be it's similar to Dave's in terms of the actual suggestion of what you should do. Because at the end of the day, it's all about resources, right? Like how much of your resources are different options going to take, right? I don't see you picketing outside the guy's Airbnb or whatever it is weekend when the new guests come in because you don't have time for it, right?
Yeah.
So there's a spectrum. Yeah. So the email to whoever the host site is, so it's very efficient. You're out. You don't have time to deal with it, by the way, and then they deal with it. And I would suspect I bet $1 to is it
$1 to donuts? Yeah.
Donuts. I bet $1 to donut that you get a full refund on the house.
Well, that's right. The site might pay you.
For sure. Well, they would take it from that guy. Well, that money goes in escrow. It's not transferred over until the stay's over.
Okay. Now, will your answers change when I tell you this bit of knowledge that you didn't know?
Okay.
There are security cameras all over the house. And we may or may not have put some things in the fire that don't belong in the big bonfire. Does that change your mind?
Burn? Did they burn or was it like sofa in the bed?
The stuff we put in there burned.
Is it
I doubt you're not reviewing
is it something that comes from your body?
No.
Okay. Thank goodness.
No.
I think you're okay. Tell us? Guys aren't reviewing their security footage.
Okay, interesting. Do you think that if they were kicked off, if there was repercussions for them from the site based upon this, they would then review the security footage?
No.
How bad is this put in the fire situation? Is it like could you have the police come knock on your door?
No.
Not that bad.
If you're like 20 years old, 25 years old or something, maybe they review it. But a bunch of like middle-aged men.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think so. I think you're gonna get a full refund. Just send that email that Dave mentioned. I think that makes complete sense.
Interesting.
Send pictures. They're asking for pictures, right?
Yeah.
And they don't want to ever have this on their brand, right? It's unacceptable.
But don't review it on the site, is what you're saying.
I would not review it on the site.
Well,
Interesting.
yeah, I guess I would ask the site what should be. They said don't bother, we'll take care of it from here. This is not acceptable, and we
These
understand your concern.
these people who speak like that to other people, these, I guess bullies is the easy term.
Yeah.
Like, they need to be engaged and they need
Yeah.
to be held accountable because they've gone through their lives by audacity and by being aggressive, and it's unacceptable. When I come across a bully, something goes off in my brain and I have to address that.
Yeah.
So this is an opportunity for you, honestly, to really represent the people of the Poconos and help them in their campaign against, like, this guy's right? He owns like 100 homes, right?
Well, the owner, I think, owns 33 was the number he gave me. 33 homes.
By the way,
but the guy who threatened me was his consigliere. It wasn't.
Well, yeah, this is the thing. Dave, is it just me, or when Josh talks about the owner, I think about the guy from that movie Roadhouse, who owned all that land, who wore the white suits.
And yet another 80s movie reference.
That's yes, I do. And he was the son that threatened you of the
Yes, exactly.
Now, is it important for you to keep your login on this site? Like you've been rated, and
yes,
that's another thing.
I rent off this site every single year. And by the way, I have two weekends like this. So I also do this with my college buddies. And, look, there's other sites, obviously. We can all name at least two where you can rent houses that pretty much the same houses are listed on both.
I don't think there's no chance, David, Josh gets kicked off.
Why would I?
Not get kicked off, but just, if you were afraid of being traced back, if this was like a real concern, you could just take your profile off and re-log in. It would just eliminate your history and, any good ratings you would have had. But I don't know if any.
Do you have fear for your family's safety right now? Is that why you're in a dark room in the basement?
Listen, this guy threw me for a loop because I talked to him several times during the weekend.
Very
nice.
He
was the nicest guy in the world. He was respond to me quickly. It wasn't until I said, like, your refund. And by the way, we don't even. Yeah.
This guy was very kind. He got very violent. Was this guy's name Will Smith?
You know what? Now I put it together. His name is William Smith, but it could be the same dude.
Yeah, that's.
But the security camera footage bothers me a little bit. We didn't do anything illegal, but I mean, one of my buddies got a little overzealous and with the fire and started putting stuff in there that probably should not have been.
Were you playing Billy Joel? As long as you weren't playing Billy Joel.
We were not playing Billy Joel. But that's, this guy, it's just, for some reason, I'm with you, Omar. The first thing I thought it was, as soon as I got this text, I got angry. I'm like, I'm going to screw this guy. This guy, is he kidding me? First of all, he can't take down can he just take down a review? Do the owners have that ability?
No, I don't think
There's no way.
respond.
No.
They respond.
But they can't take it. He's like, I'm going to take it down. It's almost like he knows someone at this site that he could just do whatever the hell he wants, or this is just an empty threat, it's probably an empty threat. But the way it was delivered and the way he talked to me the last time we talked, I'm like, there's something with this guy. I always in the back of my head thinking, what if he's connected more than I think he is? What if he cares more than he probably should?
Yeah. Right.
I don't know.
Because that's the worst case scenario. You don't need that in your life.
Imagine I do that. Imagine all I do is say, like, hey, this house wasn't as advertised, and this guy threatened me, and then the next thing you know, my kids are abducted by some psychopath, and I got to pay a ransom and hire Liam Neeson to go get them.
Yeah. Yep. Be like, rats. That was the wrong answer.
Yeah, that was stupid.
I think you start with the site. I think if you had that concern at all, I would just take my profile down and just restart a new one.
And I don't even care about the profile. I don't. You know what I mean? I can do that. I mean, you can.
I guess he's got your. No, he doesn't have your information.
He does, because I signed a lease agreement. He has all my information. That's the other thing.
But that's through the site, isn't it?
I don't know if it is or not. But when I wrote him, emails originally before the house, because you can write and ask him questions.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, let's just take this offline. It's so hard to communicate through the site. And I'm like, and it definitely is.
Right.
So I got his email address, and then we exchanged emails that way before we even got to the house.
And
I put my home address on there and my stuff, so I know he's linking it to the right property.
All right, so now he's got your home address.
Oh, he has my home address.
Oh, that is now a
yes,
new
he has my
piece
home
of
address.
information.
Does that change your mind at all? He has my home address.
Yes.
It does.
It does.
Oh, interesting. Omar, does that change your mind?
I agree.
Oh, interesting. All right, I'm done. I'm going to leave this alone. He gets away, but that's the worst part. Then he gets away with it. Then another group's going to go in there, rent that house, and be like, "This place is a piece of shit," and call him, and then he's going to threaten their families too.
It's just about every other iteration of this guy's life. He's going to continue to get through by being a jerk.
What an asshole! I want this guy stopped. I don't want other people to
I don't know, Dave. I mean, honestly, Dave, I don't think this guy has my address or your address for that matter. Josh, I think you should report it.
Yeah, I think for the sake of the podcast, I think you sign a very awful review. Put your address on the review.
Yeah, and right, come get me.
Yeah. I'll meet you out back any time of the week, buddy. Yeah, that's right. Put on the. I think, I mean, it's over now. You probably had a fun weekend. It was
a great weekend. We had a blast.
This is part of the story. Like, maybe you want to review and say, we stayed here and it was a house, like almost like a review with,
But you got to put stars. You got to put the stars.
Mm.
Oh, here's the funny. I left out one of the funniest parts. So when I texted him and said, "Hey, buddy, just to give you a heads up, I'm going to review it," he writes back to me as if there was no history. "Oh, great. Better be 5 stars."
Oh, no.
I'm like, are you kidding me? You know it's not going to be 5 stars.
Yeah.
Are you nuts?
I guess maybe if you called the site and told them, here's the situation. I do not want this to blow back on me. And so what do you recommend I do about it? But yeah, I think if they say it's that guy, let's go get him. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I might let it go. Omar, what's your ruling?
You guys have changed. You guys have
Yes, it's a big piece of information. I had a story similar. We were in Chicago, and my 2 daughters who were in high school took a train back to St. Louis, and I said, when you get off, just take a cab back to the house, which now maybe sounds like a bad idea, but it happened.
Of course.
But so they get in a cab outside the train station, and he says, "I only take cash," and they're like, "Well, we don't have cash. We just have a credit card." He goes, "Well, we'll stop at ATM then," and they're like, "No, we'd rather pay with card." He said, "No, we'll stop at ATM." So he goes to a really bad part in St. Louis, makes my oldest daughter get out and go to ATM, leaves my younger daughter in the car.
Oh my God.
She gets money, gets back in. He drives them to my house, and the whole time they were scared to death, and they got dropped off. Everything was fine, but like he made them. I thought this was not a cab driver. He had a cab sign. It was fake.
Yeah.
And so I said, my wife wanted to call the cab company, make a big deal. I said, do not do it.
Yeah.
This guy knows where we live, and so they're safe and it's fine. And I don't even want a 1% chance it's a problem.
That's right. That's right. Just that odd one, because you watch those documentaries on Netflix. It's like how some of those things. I watched one the other day, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, just people get sucked into stuff that you would think is just, there's no way anyone could get sucked into.
Right.
And then it's a freaking shit show after that. And I don't want that.
I mean, it is like, I unfortunately, as much as I want to lead with,
you want to stop the bully. I want to stop the bully.
It's because even if you told the website, I don't want to be involved, the minute they get involved with the guy, he's gonna know it's coming from you.
He knows it's going to be me. He knows.
Yeah.
Right. The question is, do I leave distance? Maybe I do it in a month, but then it doesn't seem like as urgent. Then they'll be like, well, why are you waiting a month?
But I
don't know.
I also have to think that these big groups, these whether it's Airbnb or VRBO, they have like very big security and legal teams to deal with stuff exactly like this happening on both sides, both with guests and hosts.
Yeah.
They can be very, very, because if this guy's 32 homes, he's
33.
Not going to want to fuck with, anything. I don't know. I would. Yeah, I don't know. I would have probably sent the email when I got the initial threat, because I would have been so upset that someone tried to threaten me.
Yeah, well, I was going to. Yeah, I was going to. And then I talked it over with everybody, and I got mixed reviews. That's what happened.
What did your wife say?
She wants to leave it well enough alone.
Okay, well then I think that's the answer.
Yeah, I think that's the answer.
As in many other things.
Can you move? Can you move real quick? If we just take all the risks away.
I know a house I can rent.
Exactly.
Sounds a little expensive and big for your family.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my God.
I think if you have any thoughts about this issue, you can email us if you're listening.
I'd love to hear what. Yeah, that's well done.
Our email address is friends@fts.media. I believe that's right? Friends@fts.media.
Yeah.
So
right.
if you have any thoughts, or if you're listening to this podcast and you're the one who owns this house, his name is Josh.
Well, that's.
And we want to, for the sake of the podcast, we want to continue this story.
That's the other thing I was thinking. Like, what are the odds that guy listens to this episode?
Yeah,
like,
that's this will lead to the second podcast, the Poconos abductor, and this will be all part of it. It'll blow up this podcast. It's gonna be great.
Could you imagine? Oh my God! Then there's another podcast just to find me or what happened to me.
Yep, this will be Netflix. This video of us sitting at the counter here is going to make it into.
This is evidence. This is evidence.
Gosh, I'm thinking of the for listeners. I had my birthday a few weeks ago or months ago, and Josh sent a birthday video, which was a spoof on him being held hostage by a group of, I think, religiously motivated Al Qaeda, and he was forced to read his friendly birthday wishes to me.
Yes, that's right.
And how he wasn't being told to do anything under forces of his own accord. So maybe it's foreshadowing.
Yes, that's right.
The best video you got, by the way, Omar? The best video you got?
You and LD. Yeah.
Oh, I'd like to see LD's.
But LD brought an Emmy, so there was a lot of music and video and.
Mine was a one-man show.
Yeah.
You're the Bo Burnham.
But for a one-man show.
Yes, that's right. I'm the Bo Burnham.
All right.
Anyway, thank you.
Omar,
I appreciate both your input.
We're concerned about your well-being, so I think that's going to be my answer. Omar, do you want to go next?
No, you go. I'll go last.
All right. Well, mine is pretty straightforward, but I'm curious what you guys think about this. So I was driving to Wisconsin from St. Louis, and when I drive up here, I know the route, but I always put it into Waze, and it's on my little screen in my car because that'll see where police cars are, for speeding and everything. And traffic. So I get a sense like I can see I got 3 hours left, 2 hours left. But I'm driving through Chicago. I know the route, and randomly Waze is taking me off of exit 247 onto some random road, and takes me off the regular route. Now I was getting into traffic with Chicago, so I realized, Waze must know that this direction is going to avoid traffic because it must know it sooner. But so many times I've taken some other route and it just will swing me in a big loop right back onto the highway. And I think, why in the world did they do that for? So I feel like,
but you could have avoided. It might have been traffic.
Could have
been. You would have been stuck in. So you never know. You kind of have to give Waze the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Do you go to other sources to see trapfic flows?
You don't have time.
I'm driving
time for
by
that.
myself, right? So
you're by yourself,
right? The exit's coming up in 2 miles, so I've got 5 minutes.
You don't have the dexterity or hand-eye to be able to do it that quickly.
Well,
is that what the question
I try to follow laws, traffic laws, and things like that. Keeping an eye on the road. That kind of stuff.
Boring. Following traffic laws.
Nothing's more interesting than texting and driving.
Listen, either you trust Waze or you don't.
Well, that's my question. Do you trust Waze in every instance?
Implicitly.
No doubt.
No, this is Josh's problem.
It's an algorithm.
Josh,
it's an algorithm. It's an algorithm. It knows you want to get from A to B. It's an algorithm to see how fast you can get from A to B. And it's constantly running. If I take this route, this route, this route, this route, and then it factors in the traffic, it factors in the speed limit, it factors in everything. And
wait. Josh, do you know who owns Waze?
Putin?
Close.
No, I don't know who owns Waze.
Google.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So what is Google in essence? They're a profit maximizer. I'm sure there's a chance, greater than 0%, that Waze is directing you in a certain way, but they can maximize the advertisements that David sees when he's driving.
No.
And or perhaps directs him to a Denny's or a house of pancakes.
This may be the stupidest theory.
Wait, he's about to wait.
I've gotten actually from this. So I was searching to see if there was a Portillo's in St. Louis, which is a Chicago hot dog beef kind of place.
Okay.
And when I did take this exit, I was like, oh, there's a Portillo's there. I should remember that because I'll stop here next time.
That is purely coincidence.
Josh, you please accept? I'm going to hear the apology.
No, that is purely coincidence. Although there was one time where I put in Waze to go to Florida from Philadelphia, and it took me up to Maine because I had just searched for lobster the day before. That's true. It's a good point. I didn't even think about it. And I'm like, wait a second, I'm in Maine. I'm like, might as well get some lobster.
Yeah.
No, this is pure coincidence that Portillo's, which, by the way, let's also go back and see how many Portillo's exist. How many Portillo's exist? Hundreds.
There are hundreds, yeah.
Hundreds. So it's a coincidence.
Yeah. No, we are pawns in these big companies' games. And look at David. He's a simple man, Josh. He doesn't know what's going on.
I'm not going to disagree with that.
He's following the law. Following the law. He's abiding by the law. 2 heads, 3 p.m., 9 p.m., whatever it is. Right? He's listening to what the phone's telling him to do.
Yeah.
I think it's 2 and 10.
Holds my hand.
2 and 10.
Takes me, leads me like a toddler through the state of Illinois. But I think, Josh, you are a trusting of technology generally.
Yes,
I think you have. You basically, like, this goes back to your original story. You look at your Airbnb reviews and you trusted it. You didn't. Maybe because
that's different though, because the reviews are from people.
Yeah.
And what's amazing about reviews in general is you're more likely to review something when you've had a bad experience with it than you are a good. And all these ones have just nothing but good on it. So it's like you take it with a grain of salt that they're doing it themselves, they're plugging their own reviews. Like when I read a review on Amazon, I know a lot of those reviews are phony, that the person who's selling the product is somehow putting a bunch of reviews up under different aliases. I get that. But when something has hundreds of reviews versus 7, there's a big difference. It's hard to fabricate that.
I've just thought of another idea for your situation. I would write a review, like a Mr. Subliminal, and say something like the TV you could see the TV and then
you could even see it from the ceiling.
It's parentheses, tilted toward the ceiling, or it. I can't think of something clever at the moment, but you sort of state something and then in parentheses you state the subliminal message.
Like the couches are so soft that it feels like your ass is on the floor.
The review doesn't mean anything, right? Because there's so many other reviews.
No,
right?
Reviews do mean something.
Not when you have hundreds of them. Like the next
when you have hundreds, that's the better part. Like when I buy something on Amazon,
right?
That like I will opt for the thing that has 4.5 stars and 2,000 reviews versus the thing that has 4.5 stars and 150 reviews.
Because don't you sort by like the 1 star to see what are the people
because
saying that's the worst?
No, I don't want to hear the 1 star because those are just people who got. I do read them, but there's also people who are out for blood, and there's people who are selling it's the same thing works with people who are selling competitive items that will go and put 1-star review on it. You have to take everything with a grain of salt. So you have to kind of filter through and see the ones that are like I'll look at the 3s and the 4s before I look at the 5s and the 1s. Because then those are the ones that typically are pretty honest.
Yeah, I think for an Airbnb situation, I want to look at the ones to just see how bad is it. Because sometimes
that's different. That's different.
Like, I tried to order a pizza and they couldn't make it to the door. The driveway is weird. It's like I don't care about that.
Yeah,
so
right. Exactly.
Rather than they have cockroaches, I care about that. Like.
But these were all 4- and 5-star reviews at this place.
I just think that the problem, again, you guys have a lot of problems. But I think that you're too trusting of Google and of Facebook. And
I'm not trusting of Facebook at all. But first of all, I hate Facebook. That's number one. We're talking about a directions. Okay. It's an algorithm. It is based upon distance. It's based upon speed limit. It's based upon traffic. That's the algorithm. I would be very, very look. If you put in a route, do this exercise. put in a route on Apple Maps, put in a route on Waze, put in a route on Google Maps. They'll all tell you the exact same way to go.
Look, so I'm sure 95% of the time, yes. But I think
that's my point.
Waze is owned by Google. These are profit maximizing firms. Google makes money from targeted advertising because they know everything about all of us. It's basically God, right? They know everything about all of our lives, right? And David likes this place, whatever the heck it's called, Chipotle's, whatever it's called. Portillo's, mushrooms, whatever.
That's Portobello's. That's Portobello's.
Okay, Portillo's. And so it's like, oh, this is an opportunity to send Portillo's another customer, and we can monetize that later. This is what they think about.
Josh,
it's certainly greater than 0% chance.
Yes, it's greater than 0% chance. But look, these things they're so competitive. There's so many of these that pop up. Remember MapQuest? I mean, this is something. It's just an algorithm. It's
that's not a monopoly.
No, I'm not saying it's not a monopoly, but
that's pretty much it.
No, it's not. You have Apple Maps, you have Waze, you have
Waze
Google Maps.
Owned by Google.
I know, but you're not. People are going to stop using. The reason why people use Waze is because the functionality that Waze had that others didn't. It was better.
Every so often, David gets his portobello mushrooms, right?
Well, this is a ridiculous theory. But I get it, but it's a ridiculous theory. I trust Waze implicitly. And by the way, even if it does take you on where it goes around instead of through, maybe it saved you a minute versus.
Hold on. To be clear, I by no means insinuating that David has anything better to do with his day. Okay.
Why the personal attacks on my legitimate question?
It's not going to take you. It's not going to take you. It's not going to reroute you.
I've been burned before by, the algorithm was just wrong. When I was
that's possible. When
I was in California, to get to one of those wineries, it took me through a 20-minute twisty road up this mountain because it was the first exit. And when we got there, he said, "Oh, just go over here. It's just right. The highway's right there."
But there could have been a 17-car pileup there that you didn't know about. That's the point.
Well, I did take it. And I will never know if.
Did you stop at Portillo's? Did you stop at Portillo's?
No, I wasn't hungry enough. But I thought about it. So the fact that it's an algorithm kind of shows that it can be tweaked, though. I mean, is there?
It could.
If the Portillo factor pushed it just like it's going to be an hour 30 exactly either way, so let's send them the Portillo's route.
Then I'm okay with that. You know what? Yeah. There's some false rage in this country. So one of the biggest false rage things are when people go, I don't like that these ads pop up that are specific to, like, I looked at a pair of jeans once and now ads pop up for jeans all over the place. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Are you nuts? That's what you should want. If I'm looking for jeans, show me all the friggin' possibilities that maybe I run and you show me one I didn't know about before.
Right. I actually agree with that. Yeah.
Are you nuts? Why are people upset with that? That's fine. That's perfectly fine by me. It's wonderful. Targeted ads are wonderful. They are great. It's better than getting ads that mean nothing to you.
Omar, what do you think about that?
He walked away.
Omar walked away.
This is I don't think he knows how a live podcast works.
If we were an audio version of this call, we would just be like, what happened? Is he gone? We'd have to hang up. We can never not do a video podcast with him.
That's correct. In fact, it's actually better with video because then we know he didn't pass out on the floor. Well, he didn't say anything. Are you against targeted ads? Are you in that stupid phony outrage where people get upset?
No, not at all. Those make our lives better. But be aware of incentives and what people are. Josh, everybody views you as a bag of money. You too, David. We're consumers, and they're not viewed any other way. Just have a little bit of questioning for why you can direct a certain way.
My God.
What would you do in my situation? Would you take the other route?
No, I go with Waze. I go with Waze all day, every day.
No, I'm always looking at other options. I would look at what Apple Maps says as well.
Omar would pull to the side and check out 4 other apps and waste half an hour when he could have
laying his trip. Yeah.
Throw in a sprinkle of road rage, and that's the trip.
Listen, I have one too many times ignored Waze because I'm like, no, I wouldn't go that way, and the traffic looks fine, only to run into traffic.
Yeah. So
I keep reminding myself, There's a reason why Waze reroutes me. There's a reason.
Right.
So I'm going to follow it every single time.
All right. Well, I did follow it, and it was a fine route.
Of course it was. And it's going to get you where you want to be.
Yeah.
This is what my wife does with my kid. So my son is 17. He recently got his license. Not recently, but recently enough for her at least. And every time he's like, hey, I'm going to go out to this place. And my wife constantly goes, all right, bud, how are you going to go? He goes, I don't know. I'm going to put it in the phone. And I'm like, yeah, that's what he's going to do. She goes, yeah, but you should know the direct. I'm like, no, you don't need to know anything. She's very overprotective. She's a great mother and very overprotective of our kids. And so she's like, you should know the route you're going to take. I'm like, nobody knows the route they're going to take anymore. Right. It just happens. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. Just put it in your phone.
Although as a parent, it does feel like that's not a bad idea. Like,
no, because it should be more comforting. Because remember when we first got our license?
No, that's right. Yeah.
You know, yes, you had to map it. You had to know what I'm making, a left here, a right here, and I would write it down. My dad would tell me, hey, if you want to go there, you'd make a left here, go down, you're going to see this, you're going to make a right, and you're going to see this.
Go by old man Johnson's house.
That's right. And, see that sign that says rib tips?
Yeah. There'll be a guy sitting on a chair out in front, right there. Yeah.
That's exactly that. But that's what you had to do.
Yeah, those were the days. Yeah,
I used to drive from when I was in college, and I tell my daughter this all the time because she's in college now, and I'm like, you don't understand how easy you have it. I would drive from Atlanta to Philadelphia by myself with a tape deck. That's all I had, so I would listen to the same tapes over and over. And I had a physical map in my car, and if there was an accident in front of me, I just sat and waited. There's nothing I could do because I didn't know how to get around it or what to do. Even looking at a physical map, I'm like, this is the only way I know how to go. And so therefore I would just abide by whatever the hell happens during this route.
You used to have that either external or internal fight of whether you should stop at a gas station and ask for directions.
Yes, that's right. Where you would ask for directions, or you'd get someone on the side and roll down your window. Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to here?
Yeah. When do you stop and admit you're lost? Yeah. That's all gone. That's it. The world is a better place.
Gone.
That's right.
It's so much. I didn't even know what state I was in half the time. I would pull over to a payphone to call my parents. I'd be like, hey, I've been driving for 4 hours or 5 hours. They'd be like, well, where are you? I'm like, I don't really know, but I've been driving for this long. So maybe that means I only have this long left. I don't know.
Yeah. No, the world is a better place.
David, so are you like, I guess the are you going to change your behavior or going forward when this happens?
Well, I had two Waze experiences in the last 2 weeks. That one was neutral and one was negative. Because I can't know the positive because I don't know what that other route would have been like. I don't know. But I did have the negative where I figured out this was a dumb route. I don't know if it's possible. Like, wow, that really saved me a ton of time. I guess I could hear like, oh yeah, there's an accident over here. But I think I'm going to probably trust Waze.
There's a difference. If Waze gives you a way from the jump and never deviates from it, and you're like, whoa, I probably should take this way, this would be better, then maybe you have an argument. You don't know. But if Waze reroutes you during the drive, you should follow it. You should follow it.
All right. Well, that's the answer to that one. I think Josh, you're very trusting of technology. Omar, you're a skeptic. I'm probably somewhere in the middle. But I will probably continue to trust Waze until I have no other choice really. Once I start debating it, then I think my life is chaos. I can't do that.
Why don't you use something else and see if you're like your life's can only get better, right? So maybe try another driving map service.
Why?
I really like Waze. It has saved me countless times from speeding. I think.
Yes.
How do you know you've never tried anything else? That's my point.
Apple Maps doesn't have cops.
Yeah, I don't think they have the police options on there.
They don't have it. Neither does Google Maps.
There's some other services that offer it besides Waze. Come on, that's not true.
There might be.
I don't know. Yeah,
but you have to understand how Waze works.
I know it's better because the data, the users, and et cetera.
The users. So if you're going to go to something else, it's going to have far less users, which are far less data points.
I think there's a chance that the guy who rented Josh the Airbnb has somehow infiltrated Waze. So it's skewing that data too. This threatens half of the users.
It's like an evil.
Maybe this dude controls everything.
The Illuminati.
Yeah.
That we've discovered. All right, Omar, are you ready for your topic? I feel satisfied with my answer.
Are you satisfied with your answer?
I am.
Okay. No,
Continued confusion.
It's important that we hear each other out. So this is something I've been more aware of recently, and I don't think any of us, this is, we're going to touch on something that's a pretty bit of a touchy subject with people, right? What's a touchy subject with people? Money. Right?
Okay.
And so let's say I had this hypothetical conversation with someone, and I feel pretty strongly about it, and they felt the other way.
Okay.
Like Josh or Dave, if I borrowed,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, $20 from you,
Mm-hmm.
right, for something,
Yep.
and I'm like, I'll pay you back in, I don't know, 6 months, right, or whatever.
It's gonna take you that long to get to 20?
Well, this is I think about it more as a percentage of your net worth.
Yes, I get it.
Right?
Okay.
So then let's say that you all of a sudden, 5 years later, worth $1 billion.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And I've known you the whole time, like we're dear friends. I'm not like a crackhead. And I said, Josh, can you lend me $1 million or $2 million?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pay you back. Don't get me wrong, but the urgency of paying you back shouldn't be increased because of the amount, because it's such a small amount of your net worth, and you trust me. So whether it takes a little longer or not is irrelevant. And honestly, you have a responsibility to lend me that money because we're friends. And if it was reversed, we'll do the same.
Okay.
Your face just changed.
I don't even know where to start with this one.
Yeah.
You guys think wait, am I off on this whole premise?
You're off on a lot of things here.
Well, your SAT correlation of $20 to my net worth, say, to $1 million to someone else, I think I don't think that's probably right on. I mean, unless are you talking to Bill Gates? I mean, is Bill Gates?
I'm saying that if I as my everything's relative, and I'm certainly more successful, at least financially, than I was 10 years ago. My generosity has pretty much increased by proportional rate.
No one would argue that.
Thank you. But I guess my point is that it's just what you do, people that you trust. If it's someone who came out of the blue who's a new friend, I get it. No. But someone's known you for a long time, if they need something for whatever, you're like, okay, sure. Again, they're going to pay you back. But the actual amount shouldn't really matter, because in my scenario, it's not $1 million. Maybe it's closer for $20 for Dave. It's like $40 for me. Right?
Yeah.
Whatever. My point is I feel no shame. I feel actually like you're supposed to do it this way. But my other friend took sort of a little different perspective, and I was just curious how you guys think about it.
I'm trying to understand what the issue is. The issue that the person who's lending the money,
correct,
should not have any
hesitation
lending it, nor should they have any say on when it gets paid back.
No. Of course they have say.
I don't understand what the hell you're saying.
No. Of course they have say. No, I'm sorry.
What's the issue? The person borrowing or the person lending?
Here, can I summarize, Scott? I think think what he's trying to say it's that lending should be a relative, non-absolute deal.
Bingo.
So it's
got it.
It's not that $5, $20, $10,000,
yeah,
100,000, like all of that. It doesn't matter as you go up. The terms shouldn't change. It should be more relative to the person's wealth, which is
so. In other words, if you ask to borrow $20 from me, I shouldn't blink an eye. But if you ask to borrow $5,000, that's a big different story.
Oh, I would say with you as well, you shouldn't blink an eye, perhaps.
What, for $5,000?
Yeah.
I'm not lending you $5,000. Is that what you? Is this what this is? Is this your backwards way of trying to? Listen,
yeah.
I just watched.
What do you need?
Did you watch the Tinder Swindler on Netflix? This is how it started with that dude. He got money from those women. He was a billionaire and was asking for $20,000 from these women, and they were giving it to him. and look what happened to them.
Yeah.
So your theory's shot. Go watch that documentary and tell me about your $20 versus $5,000 theory.
I gotta pay for an Airbnb in the Poconos.
Yeah.
No, I just think that it's a different. I think the proportional thing is something that I try and be aware of, and I think that it's I would gladly do it for again with people you've known for a long time.
Listen, can I draw a distinction?
Yeah.
Listen, let's say you and I were out somewhere, okay? And Omar, you said to me, we saw something that you're like, oh my God, I gotta have this, or whatever it was. We gotta do this, or I gotta have this, or whatever. And it costs a lot of money. And you're like, I don't have my wallet on me. I don't have means by which to pay. Can you spot me the $5,000? Let's say it's something crazy like that. $5,000 to do it.
Yep.
Fine. Because there's a difference. You just don't have the means to pay me there at the moment. But if you're asking to borrow $5,000, I have to question, you can't get $5,000? You, Omar? Why are you? Do you see what I'm saying? There's a big same $5,000, but two different scenarios. And by the way, the last thing I ever want to do is borrow money from a friend. I never want to do that. That's the most uncomfortable thing.
Yeah, I think you have to be willing to write it off.
See, but that's my thing, though. I think that whole part that gets a bad rap.
What gets a bad rap?
I think you should borrow money from friends. It's been given a bad rap by society.
You called it a responsibility. There is no way that's a responsibility.
On both sides.
It's ruins friendships.
I think that's generosity, but lending, so I think if I were to borrow or lend someone $5,000 to a friend, I think I have to, in my mind, be ready to lose it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's where the absolute kind of comes in.
That's a problem.
Well, I guess it's relative too, because if it's $20, I don't care. If it's $100, I don't care. At some point, I care, but I guess that is a relative question.
And Dave, what is that line where you don't care?
For every friend imaginable. I mean,
give me that line.
Maybe for me. What's that
number?
Number?
For you. Give me the number.
That I would just write off. I mean, I would probably be off the top of my head. I mean, I don't know, $1,000. Just
okay. Can I borrow $900?
No. Wow, I should have.
Yeah, that took too long to get there, but it was worth it.
Cost never to be seen from again.
Yes, that's right.
$999.
But
I just think that there's an absolute level that it just it's relative to the person who has the money, but does it matter relative to the person who's getting it too? Because if someone who is doesn't have much money is asking for $10,000, I don't think I'm ever getting that back.
This is the part that again I want to highlight. If there is a true friendship on both sides, right? That if I'm the borrower, that there's nothing more important to me than our friendships. I'm going to pay you back.
That's the way it should be, but that's not always the way it happens.
Have you guys had bad experiences recently lending people money?
No.
I can't think of. Yeah.
In fact, I go out of my way. I'm going to bring it right back. When we do the house thing, I front the entire house. And then every single time without fail, Sunday morning when we're all leaving, we settle up with each other on Venmo immediately. And so everyone was zero balances before we even leave each other's company. Because no one wants that hanging over their head.
But I think you're confusing, Omar, that's generosity and lending, which maybe they're two of the same or they're similar. But as I have more money, then I should be more generous. But I don't know if I should.
Yeah. Or even with strangers too, I guess.
Yeah, I think I would.
Well, that's a whole different topic. That's
right. I think that's where the relative scale goes. But on a lending situation, if no matter what my net worth is, say a $10,000 loan to someone is a big decision whether I was worth.
I had neither one. I mean, Josh did give me a very sweet video, but I had a few birthday toasts, and they're all pretty much the same kind of toast, right? How much someone's grown, how proud you are of them.
They're not creative like mine.
It's all the same stuff, right? However, there's one thing that someone said about me, which I thought to be particularly hit home, and they said the more successful you become, the more generous you are, which is very rare.
It's very true.
I think that I carry that into assuming that
that's everybody else
the same way, but maybe that's not everybody.
Well,
It's not.
I think I've talked to you before. I think you've inspired me to try to be more, like, look for opportunities to be more generous or to help out, because
you lend me $999.
Yeah, I guess I'll write checks. I'll Venmo both of you tonight. I got a backup what I said.
But you're talking about two separate things. You're talking about generosity and as it equates to wealth, and then you're also talking about actually lending to people you know.
Well, I'm saying that Omar is tying those two things really tight together. That lending is part of being generous.
Well, I think he's saying that lending money is part of being a good friend.
Yeah, that's right.
And I don't think it is. I think that's a huge ask.
You can do it if you can cover people's.
But it's a huge. The way I envision it is that the last place I'll go for money is a friend. The last place. If there was ever a scenario where I needed money, I've never borrowed money from a friend.
See, this is where you're wrong. I got locked out of my apartment about 4 years ago with Miles, and I ended up spending the night at somebody else's home in the East Village at like midnight, didn't sleep, for a long story, and Brett had keys to my place.
Yeah.
And next day I called him at 8 a.m. and I told him, he goes, "Why did you call me in the morning?" I was, "I don't want to bother you and wake you up." He goes, "That's why I have your keys." He goes, "You should do that." And so my point is, if you told me, Omar, I needed, whatever, and I went through this, and I could ask you just as easily. Again, you haven't, and you probably never will. I'm like, Josh, why would I want you this extra stress you went through to get this financing? And when it's just here, it make me happy to make your life a little easier, at least for like.
Okay, but these are two separate things. These are two. What you said about the keys, I understand completely what Brett said. Like, a great example, this weekend, my daughter's had problems with she's having pain in she felt like toothache pain in her mouth, and it was getting worse and worse. And so I flew her home this weekend, and my buddy who's a dentist, greatest guy's like, just bring her to me on his day off, and saw her on his day off in the morning, as soon as she landed the plane, and was like, I checked her out. Here's what you should do, blah, blah, blah. That is awesome. That's amazing. That's a great friend. That's great friendship, right? That I can call in that favor. That's a huge difference than saying, hey, can you lend me $10,000?
But the dentist, that's what he can do. That's what he does. If you're happen to be very wealthy for whatever reason, it's as easy for you to do that as well. Like, hey, please take this.
Easier.
Easier.
It is easier, but oh God. Yeah. It's funny because I think of it now. It just hit me like, that is easier. That is easier than to actually go out of my way, meet you in my office, unlock it, wake up, go to work, this is my day off. I don't have to do this today. That's definitely more of an imposition than asking someone to write a check or just Venmo me money. So you're right. You're 100% right. But for some reason, society says that's way more, that's this little more frowned upon. Yeah.
Favor, good deeds, like that's
it's interesting. You just hit something there. You hit a nerve with me there. That's interesting.
It's a fault. It's a fault that you have.
I think that one of the things that they say, when my performance coach, who's still continuing.
Oh God.
But even when I talk to my other friends who have achieved things that I probably will never achieve, but one of the things that they're most proud of is the amount of families that they've helped build by employing their team and making more money. And it's a real source of pride for anybody who runs a firm. And I think that there is a parallel perhaps with when you're financially, blessed, relatively speaking, if you can help your friends and family get through some rough spots and not have to worry about, either A, having a toothache, or B, not being able to get a mortgage as quickly as you needed to make a down payment on a home or whatever it is. And then having a bridge for them for 3 months so they get their dream home and being able to roughen those soft spots for their loved ones in your life. It's equally as, I think, fulfilling.
That's an interesting situation where you just need financing. I'll get it. Now it could fall through, and then what happens? You got a sticky situation. But in that's a case where you could have a legit friend need help that you could smooth over. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of like Josh, where it's like, the money thing makes it weird.
It makes it weird.
I remember I was at. Did I tell you the story? I know I haven't name dropped yet, so I'm going to do that now. Okay. So I was. We're pretty far along into this one, but I was at this event and I was talking to Mike Odell, okay, who's of Dell Computers.
The farmer.
We're familiar.
Eddie Granger, who's a billionaire who owns a soccer team in Austin, Texas, with Matthew McConaughey, who's also a billionaire. Lee Ainsley and Alan Howard. Okay.
Yep.
So and it's me. Like, and they all think I'm a peer of theirs because I'm not somehow invited to this event. And we're talking, and Eddie goes, he looks at me, he goes, so what do you do? Are you a Bitcoin billionaire? As I'm wearing like my sunglasses, and I'm like, no, I'm like, what I do honestly is I have a bunch of friends who work in an industry where they're constantly used to everybody else trying to view them in a transactional way, and I just try and view it. They're my friends, they're my relationships. I just try to make everyone's life a little better and enjoy myself along the way, and like everyone can win maybe, or they don't, but either way I'm enjoying myself. And then Eddie looks at me and he looks at the group. He goes, I do the same thing. When I did the soccer team in Austin, it wasn't for me, it was for the people of Austin. I don't care. And if it makes money, great. And then he puts his hand on my shoulder and looks at the group. He goes, if any of us have an extra $1 billion, does it really change our lives? And I'm like, wait, what?
Oh my God. It's a whole nother world.
Conversation just go. He goes, I'm still going to only have one taco. I'm not going to get 5 tacos. I'm like, I'm going to get 1 million tacos.
Yeah, but you're not going to get 1 million tacos.
But
we all know that.
His point was, he goes, if you just build and help people, it can amazingly make your life that much better as well. And I think there's some truth to that.
There is, but that's very easy. Okay. We're getting into a whole other subject.
I want to hear him say that if he loses all his money.
Correct. Number one, correct. Number two, it's so easy to say that once you've made your $1 billion. It is so easy to say that after that point. I guarantee you he was a shark and a half getting to that billion. It wasn't about the people of Austin on the way to that billion. Once you get there, another story.
Yeah. It's magnanimous as you want.
He was born.
Yeah, exactly.
He was a baby shark, so he was born into it. But yes.
There you go.
I don't know if there's a good answer on this one.
It's tricky. I didn't understand anything you said originally when you started the conversation, but now
that's pretty much par for the course.
Yeah, that is par for the course. But now I'm seeing some sort of light there.
But being more generous as your wealth goes up, I think that is
good concept. That's a good
works.
Concept.
That's right.
Opportunities. When I interact with people who are very wealthy, and especially if they talk about it, and then they're frugal with tips, or I just don't want to be around them. It's like it really causes me a lot of, I get very, very judgmental and about the mentality that they have. Yeah. These aren't people I want to be around.
That's an interesting topic. We should come back to it sometime. I think whether you came from wealth, I think makes a difference. So you probably, if you had to earn it and scrape
it might. It
might feel different.
Wait, hold on. You're saying if you came from wealth versus whether you have to earn it, then what's the difference? People who earn it are more frugal or are more generous?
Well, people earn it have more respect for money.
Yeah, and may be more.
Wait, but what does that mean? I would say more.
So, for example, a few jobs ago, we had a investor who invented the cable splitter, and the guy was worth a ton of money. I don't think he was a billionaire, but nine figures easy. And he drove like an old beat up Pontiac, and he wore like normal everyday clothes. He wasn't flashy at all, and stuff that was like worn out. Like you're like, why don't you just? Anyone would say like that shirt's been through the ringer. Time to get a new shirt. But that's just who he was. He was just frugal that way. And it's just like I think he just felt like I don't need to spend money. This shirt works. It fits over my body and it keeps me warm. And so why do I need a new shirt? And some people just have that mentality. They just don't.
Look, I'd be curious to see this guy's house he lives in, number one, on his vacation homes. But having said that, I get.
True. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Respect for money, that could be taken in a variety of ways, right? Respect for money to me also means if I tip a waiter $200 on a $50 tip, a $50 bill, it changes their day and their week, right? Because the respect for money and such a huge impact on their lives, and it makes minimus on me, and it literally changes someone's day, if not their week, to get something like that. That is also respect for money.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good counter. It's funny because the funniest thing ever. Did you ever see the it's like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Remember that show?
Yeah.
Inevitably, and other game shows are like this too. It's the funniest damn thing in the world. They always have like the sob story in the beginning. The wall. I remember the wall that LeBron James where the ball goes down, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, and I would laugh at this with my wife all the time. They'd be like, they'd introduce them like, well, what's your deal? And they'd always give them they always pick people with a sob story because you want to root for them. You want to root for them to get the money. Like, I'm my parents they're invalids and they live with us, and my kid is in the hospital and I can't afford medical bills, and this would just go a long way. And my wife's trying to get through nursing school. It's like, whatever. And they're like, and then they're like, okay, they're halfway through the game. Like, okay, you can leave now with $50,000, or you can risk it to go for 100. They're like, no deal. I'm like, what are you talking about?
You just solved two problems.
You just solved your problems. You just gave us the story, and this money would go a long way and solve all your. Nope, no deal. And then everyone, it's ridiculous. That's how everyone thinks. It's crazy.
Well, good topics this week. This is a very special episode of our podcast here. I think we dove into some pretty deep topics, and hopefully saved your life, Josh. Hopefully saved your life.
Yeah, we'll see.
So this is our longest podcast too. Hopefully people will get to the end. But we'll sign off from here until next time. I'm Dave, and for Josh and Omar, we'll see you next time.
See
Bye,
you,
everyone.
Do we have no sponsors on this one?